Hey there, good morning. I'm John. Today is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. This is my first daily vlog of April. Just crossed over the month barrier. I hope you survived April Fools without getting fooled too much. I mostly got off scot-free. Let's see. Let's quickly talk about Friday and the weekend. So Friday I was working to complete a long form video. I was reviewing, it was an older toy I was able to review and look at how these paddles work versus how the big video we're doing had some paddle issues. So I was able to take it like a gadget from 2019, review it and connect it back to the larger review I've already done, and it's a way to get both things done. I'm able to create content on something new and continue the thread that's doing well for us in the other, and I think that's it's a really cool strategy that worked very well. That video, I worked really hard to finish that on Friday. And throughout the day, I was wrapping it up at about, it was probably 5 or 6 in the evening. And it really was a bad time to launch it. I figured I'd much rather launch it on Saturday morning, which is what I did. And as of right now, that video is already over like 4,100 views. Look, I don't know how long this can sustain, but remember, there used to be a time when videos would, maybe they would make 1,000, maybe they'd make 1,200. Now I'm seeing 1,000 within, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. And then it continues a slow, steady growth, and that video is still doing well. We'll see how it picks up today on Monday. I mean, Sunday evening is a bad time, but it's already this morning, it's cranking out views. And so I'm really happy with how that video has gone. Of course, there's a link over my shoulder if you haven't seen it and you'd like to take a look at it. I think it turned out really well. And it's some more kind of scientific, like, let's see how this works compared to this, and run some comparisons that I think people find very interesting, and they have said in the comments. So I'm gonna keep doing that. I had a good chat yesterday on Sunday, having lunch with some friends, talking about maybe some new ways or old ways thought of new to leverage some older content or to create newer content that kind of recycles older content. Really good point that, look, I've been doing this for almost 6 years, and we have some videos way back in the vault that I don't know if they maybe got 100 views back then, and they just don't pop up again. They don't repercolate. And so while I don't want to just, delete and re-upload, I think refreshing those for a modern audience has a potential to do well for us. So I'm gonna explore that a little bit in the coming weeks and kind of poke around and see. I think there's an integrity question there of just re-uploading the same thing and trying to double dip, but there's also the reality that those things are sitting in a void that no one will ever see. So unless they have some historical value, like it's the first time I did this or it was response to this, whatever, who knows? I'll look into it. I think it's an idea that has merit that I want to explore and do it right if I do it. That being said, I also spent some time over the weekend preparing for today. Oh, before I get to today, I should say stats over the weekend. Downloads are, they're steady at our kind of new normal. They weren't climbing or blowing up over the weekend, but we had a solid weekend of downloads, and the subscriber count, we crossed over, not only did we cross over 22,000, another 1,000 milestone, but it's 22,070 or 80 or something. We'll probably hit 22.1 by the end of today, assuming things continue their current trend, which is amazing, fantastic. So today, I began thinking about a video based on some recent news. It's not quite news, it's more of a little history, a little bit of history lesson and discovery about a very, very, very old, recently resurfaced Atari game. And spent some time, it's a multiplayer game. I spent some time yesterday having my wife play with me so I can record the screen, the 2-player, which is important. It's really fascinating to me, and I hope it will be to viewers. So my intent is to work on that today. With the hopes of having it ready to publish either today or tomorrow. Again, just depending on how the day goes. I don't want to release it super late at night, so depending on how it goes. I need to do some writing for that. I've done some pre-production, the thumbnail and that kind of thing, but I need to do a little more research and some writing. Because this is kind of a historical thing, I have to attribute some, thank this person for this article, kind of my sources. So I gotta get that together. I really believe in doing my homework on these things. It's not just sit in front of a camera and blather. I want to have some information. It's just like those news items I talked about. I want to have an insight, not just regurgitate. So, yeah. So that's pretty well what today's going to be. I'm going to chop up some shorts. I need to prep the podcast for recording, for editing tomorrow. Tuesday morning edit that we always do. So I do some groundwork and do some prep work on that so that we're ready to hit the ground running on Tuesday morning. Yeah, and then we have our weekly meeting. The three of us guys will have our meeting this evening, and that'll be end of business. I mean, I'm always working into the night, monitoring social and tinkering with stuff, but that's the day planned out pretty well. During that lunch, one of my buddies who I talked to a little less frequently was kind of asking me, well, how's your experiment going? And kind of, because I wasn't going to give him tons of backstory, I kind of distilled it down, and I said something that I wanted to repeat here that I think bears repeating for me and for anyone listening or following me, is that I said, financially we're not where we need to be on an even, if things were going at even velocity. However, the experience, something I never considered when I started this experiment, was what if I start doing it and I get into this rhythm that I've been into for the last several months and I just don't like it? Like what if there's it's a hobby and you kind of like it, and then you try to make it a full-time operation, and what if that takes the joy out of it? I'd never considered that's a possibility. But I'm very happy to, I guess I'm happy that it hasn't, and I still love doing it. And if I'm able to meet this goal, I will be just absolutely over the moon, because it has not taken the joy out of it. I still love what I'm doing. I guess the downside of that is, if I can't successfully complete this sustainability experiment, I'll have to stop doing it on a full-time basis, right? But at least if we succeed, it's not going to be, oh, damn, we succeeded, now I got to keep doing this. Now, I can imagine it's possible to get in that scenario in some, with some people, with some things. Maybe you loved your jewelry making Etsy store, you take it full-time, and you're sick of making jewelry. You can imagine how it goes from pastime to job, and suddenly it becomes a task. But luckily, I'm not experiencing that. So that's one more tick in the positive column. So there's not a barrier, even a subconscious barrier that's like, I don't enjoy it, therefore I self-sabotage. That's not a factor, because I really enjoy where we're at on this experiment. We are 5 months in. The end of April will be the 6th month. My runway is about a year. Just because I'm not at the halfway point at 6 months doesn't mean it's a failure, because as we've seen, things can pop off in over a weekend and go bananas, and you can gain 3,000 subscribers in a month. We just saw it. Well, 23 or whatever. It's a lot. And the growth we've had over the last month is far, I would say the growth we had in the last month is bigger than the last 3 months combined. So those things could happen. And that's what I need to happen next. Hopefully that's what will happen with this next video, or the one after that, or the one after that, or all of them. Who knows? Okay, thank you. I need to get busy. Obviously, it's time for me to get working. I've rambled enough. Thank you so much for stopping in and watching today's vlog, if you in fact did. If you're here every day, thank you. I love you so much for that. I certainly appreciate you being here. There's only like sometimes 20 or 50 people watch these. I do it largely for me, and those of you 20 or 50, I don't know how many, like maybe 10 or 15 that are regularly here, that's fine with me. That's, I should be so lucky to have a dozen people that give a damn about me enough to pay attention to what I'm doing every day. I mean, that's a wealth of riches. I don't look at that as a small number. I look at that as a crowd of people that are encouraging me and here paying attention every day, and that's fantastic. So, hey, have a fantastic, speaking of fantastic, have a fantastic Tuesday. I'm already looking ahead. Monday. It's Monday. Have a great Monday. Do something good for yourself if you can, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.